Hey, it's Tim,
Hey, it's David.
and we're Worth It Fridays.
What the nani?
Welcome to our brand new episode, number 9, where today we talk about Marvel Avengers. Ooh, Marvel Avengers. This is going to be like an interesting conversation today because this game is probably talked a lot, or not talked anymore, because what many people will probably say is this game's dead. Maybe, but for some of us, people still enjoy it. So we'll see where this discussion goes. So today with us we have Harley. Woo! Say hi.
Hi, thanks for having me.
So if you guys don't remember, he was with us in our Genshin episode. This time he has a webcam, so you can't make fun of him now. Wait, what?
You guys were making fun of me?
Anyways, if you guys haven't seen it, so watch our Genshin episode. It was really cool to talk about a new game we were 3 months in at the time. So yeah. So Harley, I guess just in case to reintroduce you, what kind of gamer are you?
Before I gamed a lot, but now I'd say I'm casual side, just because of work and not having enough time. My wrist kind of hurting lately as well, so yeah.
Okay. So from the games that you play, what games do you like to play generally?
Right now, I enjoy watching Netflix and playing phone games, like gacha games on phones.
Gacha games.
Okay. So I've been playing that, and then I recently got into Black Desert Online.
Oh, okay.
Starting that up. Yeah, there's that.
If only I got into that game.
Right. If only.
If only.
Alrighty. So, let's start today's discussion. So, today's episode is going to be based on Marvel's Avengers. For those who don't know, this game is actually based on the Avengers from the Marvel comics, as well as the game developers by Crystal Dynamics and collaboration with Eidos Montreal. And it was published by Square Enix. Yes, the company that releases Kingdom Hearts and Final Fantasy games. For those who don't know, Crystal Dynamics is famous for making the recent new Tomb Raider games out there, and as well as Eidos Montreal, they created the Deus Ex game.
This game was released on September 4th, 2020 on Xbox One, on Google Stadia, PC, and PlayStation 4. The features that the game offers, where you get to play as famous Marvel heroes like Iron Man, Captain America, Thor, Hulk, Black Widow, Miss Marvel, currently Kate Bishop, and many more like Hawkeye and so forth. What they want players to experience are extraordinary abilities to master and combos to play around with, as well as customize a, hopefully, growing roster of heroes, getting many different types of gears and rarities with the rarity system, cool cosmetics, and as well as just being able to defend the Earth from escalating threats.
What this game offers is a single-player campaign, 4-player online co-op, content updates like the new Kate Bishop that recently got released, and I believe Hawkeye is coming out soon. The cost of this game is actually regular price in Canadian dollar is $80. It's on, like Tim says, PlayStation, Xbox, PC, but not on the Switch. The only problem is that it does not have crossplay, so you gotta kind of commit to one gaming system if you want to play with your friends. So, yeah.
All right, and with that, let's start with our first impressions of the game, because this game was pretty hype when, even like near the beginning even of like 2020, that's when they started releasing trailers, and probably more hype during E3. So everyone was hyped for this game, right? Because everyone's on the Marvel bandwagon train, right? Of all the Marvel movies that came out. So we're like, yes, another cool Marvel experience that can kind of like be better, hopefully, than Marvel Alliance. I think that's what the games were called. But when the game finally came out, it was another live service train wreck, very similar to Anthem, unfortunately. So Although the first month of the game, I think, seemed to at least be very mixed between people that love the game because honestly, or love the game, and people that just didn't really like it because there were so many problems with the game at release. And not to say that there aren't still problems now, but you can still find enjoyment depending on the type of game or the type of gameplay you want or expect from a game at this point. So, Harley, what was your first impression of Marvel Avengers? Just playing through it.
My impression was it was a fun game. I haven't really played any of the recent Marvel games. I think the last one I played was Marvel Alliance 2, maybe, and that's if you don't count like Marvel vs. Capcom, like those games. I really enjoyed how third player or third person view kind of thing, and you can do wombo combo on it. I think the animation is nice. And yeah, just pretty, because I was always a Marvel fan. It was hard to find Marvel games, especially after they stopped making movie games. That was like really popular back then, right? Like after right after a movie comes out, there's a game for it. I think they had it for like the first Captain America and first Iron Man movie. I think they had a game for that. So yeah, it's been a long time coming, long time due. And when I heard it was made by Square Enix, kind of got excited just because I'm a really big fan of Square Enix. So I play all their games, but yeah, that was my impression of it, at least at first. So, yeah.
Not bad. Yeah, I had a similar first impression as well. I was really hyped because like we finally get to play Marvel Avengers or like a hero, like a Marvel hero game that isn't like an Alliance style like top down thing where it's like third person, like Harley was saying. So I was like, this is like cool. This is like more actiony, more like kind of like immersive than kind of like the more classic like Marvel Alliance games. So this is crazy. And like I think what really sold, especially like me and or Harley and I, was we were deciding at a time a new game to play, and we were thinking, do we either get this game or Marvel Avengers? And we're like, it was me and him debating, you know, which game to get. We took sides on both games, bringing up pros and cons, and then I think Harley stumbles upon a Captain America combo video.
Combo video, yeah.
Holy! After I watched that, I was like, I have to like take sides with like Marvel Avengers here. Like, it's not just some button mashy like action brawler game now. It's like some super crazy wombo combos, and I'll link the video into a card or in the description. I forgot his channel name, but like the guy that made the video, dude, his combo videos were like, they're so sweet. So yeah, that was the first impression. So let's start with the full review. So the main pillars that we go through are story, gameplay, graphics and aesthetics, and the cost. So we'll start with the story. So Harley, what's your first impressions of the story? Or sorry, not impression, but just what are your thoughts on the story?
Yeah, I didn't really have a first impression. The story was like really short anyways. It was okay. I think it was a fair for a co-op like focused game where it really focuses on the multiplayer and like grinding missions. So the story wise, I think it was only like 10 hours worth of gameplay when it comes to single player. But in general, they try to add like plot twists in it. I won't spoil anything, but like trying to grab your attention at the beginning. But I think yeah, in general, if you're looking for the game to play the game for like a single player story, I wouldn't recommend it. But I think the story is solid enough to give you kind of like an idea of what's going on in the game. And that's my impression.
Cool. And David, I don't think you've played the game, but like, I guess from if you've seen like trailers or even watch other people play the game, like have you been able to see the story or any elements of the game?
No, all I know is like there's a villain out there. Pretty much the story. It seems quite interesting. Like even though I haven't played it, I'm actually quite interested to see how how the story progresses when Avengers kind of look down upon by the whole city itself because of the whole huge accident, based on the trailer I watched. And as a fan of Marvel, I was like, dang, this is pretty intense. Like, this is almost like one of the Disney's Marvel Avengers movies, right? Just like, oh snap. So yeah, my expectation of the impression of it is pretty high. Just seeing if it's relating to the comics or not. I'm not too entirely sure if it's part of the comics, but I know the characters are. So yeah, those are my thoughts on the story.
All right, cool. Yeah, I found the story really well done. We got our, they hired some really solid actors, like voice actors for the cast, and I know I guess other people's impressions of the story cast was either like you didn't either like it or it's just kind of like whatever. I think mainly because of the fact that we didn't have like Chris Evans as Cap, and we didn't have the Marvel, like the MCU Tony Stark, or like any of the MCU movies cast in this Marvel Avengers game. So that's probably like a bit of disappointment for a lot of people. But aside from that, if you can kind of get past not having any of the movie cinematic Marvel people in this game, then it was a solid story. And I guess I won't really spoil anything unless we get into that spoiler territory. But the story did kind of what's the word, is based around more around Miss Marvel or Kamala Khan, and so there's a lot of character building with her, as you kind of see her in the beginning of the intro, or even in some very quick 15-minute gameplays and stuff, where it's it's all about her and growing up, and then going with this new society of where everyone's all down on the Avengers, and we don't need it, and we have what's that new tech company that comes out?
AIM
Labs. And but yeah, the way that it's kind of like a interesting redemption story of just bringing everyone back to being an Avenger, and seeing the despair and the sadness of some characters, but then trying to bring back their hope with or having Kamala Khan bring back the hope of everyone, and just which leads into the expanding live service story of the co-op, or what the co-op is meant to be, which is you brought everyone back together, and then it's now you have this new villain to verse. So, and then we'll get into the co-op bit in a bit. Do you have any favorite story moments, I guess?
Story moments? I guess it's kind of spoilers, but at the end fight, where everyone kind of comes together, and you can rotate between all the characters. You kind of have a sense of conclusion. I kind of like that part. Yeah.
Fair enough. Mine was personally, I think, when Kamala Khan first met the Hulk, and I guess you get to play as the Hulk after. But it's just seeing him Hulk smashing around, and at the time that was oh, that's kind of funny. But and then then Hulk and Bruce Banner become besties as they kind of build their character together. So those are my more of my favorite story moments there, at least.
Hulk and Bruce Banner communicated with each other?
So it's kind of so ever since they broke up, right? So Hulk, or Bruce Banner, was still on the ship that crashed, and he was kind of researching, or still trying to research a way to fix his what he would call his disease, his Hulk form, right? And then Kamala Khan finds out finds a way to the ship, and then they bump into each other, right? But at first Hulk is who are you? And they not necessarily allies at first, right? So it's kind of that whole kind of dynamic of when they first meet, into how they're how Bruce Banner as a person understands where Kamala's coming from, as a whole mutant, or with weird powers, and new to the powers or whatever. So there's more character development with Bruce, Hulk, and Kamala than more of the other characters. But
okay, Interesting.
Yeah, it's really cool. So let's get to the meat of the game, which is essentially the gameplay. So because this game is a action, like brawler, I guess you can say like beat 'em up or button mashy type of game. You know, Harley, what are your thoughts on the gameplay mechanics?
I think it was fresh because not any Marvel games I played at least is kind of like this. The closest would be Marvel Alliance. But again, we talked about this, like the camera view and the mechanics is slightly different. So for example, all the characters have range attacks. Whether it's Captain America with shield throw, Hulk, you might think doesn't have a range attack, but he does. He throws rock. He can just grab a boulder from the ground and throw it. So you have kind of like a Call of Duty, left trigger aim, right trigger shoot kind of mechanics on all characters, while everyone has melee combos, obviously. They have different mechanics. They might have switch different modes. For example, Iron Man might have a bunch of different projectiles I can use. He can switch between laser, missiles, rockets. So yeah, each character is very unique. I really like that. They definitely put a lot of work onto each character. They can be built differently, whether they can be built range or melee, depending on your gear. So yeah, I think that is overall what I think of mechanics.
All right. For me, yeah, especially after seeing that combo video, I was like, oh, you know, like what are some of these combos that we can like try now? Of course, I never actually did any of those wombo combos like the ones in the videos or what people like show off and stuff like that, or like in their like highlight montages or whatever. But I think the way you get your new skills and how you're able to like smoothly combo into like other things felt really fun, especially when we were playing more recently. Me and Harley and one of Harley's friends, we were both, or I guess shout out to Kevin out there if you're watching this. I know he wanted a shout out, so. But yeah, we were, especially when Kate Bishop released and I got to play more Kate Bishop and level her up. You know, she's very hybrid between the two, and well, of course, I think with the way that the game wants us to do, you either want to kind of focus on one or the other, whether you want to be like more melee or more ranged or even more like skill based in terms of your builds. So, but it just felt very natural to kind of like combo like with one, like, you know, like your chick gets a katana, you know, freaking an archer gets a katana, so broken, and she gets a TP or a teleport, dude. She just felt more fun to play than the rest of the heroes. So I'm just worried low key of like how Hawkeye is gonna turn out, because like apparently they're supposed to be similar, but like, you know, or at least I thought Kate Bishop would have had like different weapons, and then like Hawkeye would have had the bow and then like the katana, since he's also like Ronin, at least in the MCU, or at least that's kind of like what they were hinting at. But here we are now. But yeah, anyways, the gameplay felt like it's very smooth to like do combos, and honestly, the roles were kind of like interesting enough where like Kamala Khan felt like the supportive like healer. Captain America, Hulk were kind of like your tanks in the game, but then you had kind of like Thor being like either a mixture of range or kind of like your bruiser melee person, and then you have you can build like Black Widow as your assassin or like supportive invisibility person, which everyone has all these builds, and the gameplay just felt really cool. And of course, I guess maybe it's a bias for all, like at least me and Harley, where we mainly played this with friends. I mean, aside from the 10-hour story, playing with friends was like, it was kind of like at least one of the maybe just to like, you know, are you playing Avengers? Yo, let's play, you know, and then we'll kind of like do our thing.
I'm just curious, was the gameplay mechanics similar to Marvel's Spider-Man? Because I did see like someone playing on PlayStation with the circle and triangle button to use your special combo finisher. I don't know. I was just curious if that was in the game.
Yeah, in a sense, actually, yeah. Like yeah, you build up that, not necessarily gauge, but like if you're able to execute or if you're able to build up the stun meter on the enemies, then that's when you're able to kind of like do like the finisher like in Marvel Spider-Man. So it's very brawler action like combat based. So very similar, probably at least in terms of fighting and in the ways of like Marvel Spider-Man.
Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah, if you want like a more extensive lineup, there's like, you have like your light attacks, and then so like it's very easy to just tap that, but then like you're also able to do like holding the light attacks, which turns into like signature attacks. You could do the same thing with heavy attacks. You hold the heavy attack and it turns into a different like heavy attack, and that's kind of how they made the combat simple, but then they're also able to add on more combos and a little bit more depth with like how you can approach your enemies in terms of like what moves to rotate with, I suppose.
Okay. What are your thoughts on players who are like the Street Fighter players where they have to pick directional and specific button combination compared to like button mashing? Where do you guys see Marvel's Avengers combat gameplay is like on that spectrum?
I think it's hard to compare to an actual fighting game because fighting games are usually 2Ds. That's why the directional buttons work. Placement in also fighting games is a 1v1 usually. For Marvel Avengers, you can get swamped really easily. So if you kept getting beat up by a bunch of characters, doesn't matter what combos you're doing, you'll still die. So positioning is also very important in that, and managing your health. You do lose health really fast, especially in the more difficult missions. So I think when it comes to button inputs, fighting games are probably definitely higher. But if you're putting it on that scale, I don't think Marvel's Avengers requires you to have like execution-wise perfect combo kind of thing on your controller. But like, yeah, when it comes to like positioning yourself or I don't know, I think their purpose is just to have more fun. It's not always button mashing, but it's also not as hard as a fight. So that's
okay.
what I think.
Cool. Okay, cool. Interesting.
In terms of gameplay, Harley, did you have any favorite or fun moments?
Yeah, actually, recently, pretty funny moment where me and my friend Kevin, second shout out, we just entered this really hard mission just because we felt like it. I don't know. We were trying to max the difficulty so we can get like a higher rarity drop or a higher chance of a rarity drop. So we went into the mission, and I think he's slightly under level. So we had troubles with some of the enemies. He was playing Iron Man, I was playing Captain America. Like every round, he would like die quite a few times, but like it was like cutting it close because sometimes I might die, and I think if we're all down, the mission fails. So there was a moment where there's this opponent that cannot be staggered. So no matter what you do to him, he'll just continue his animation of attacking you. So I think me and Kevin just took turns. Like I was like spamming my shield while he was shooting laser. I think it was a pretty cool and fun moment. We were yelling at each other too, like in a positive way. We're like, yo, let's get. It was getting intense. Yeah, that's one of my moments. That was fun.
And it wasn't a civil war.
No, it wasn't a civil war. It was basically when Captain America and Bucky were like teaming up against Iron Man. Except he's Iron Man and the enemy's just a bad guy.
Nice.
Speaking of more gameplay, like, did you have any difficult moments where like any levels were really hard to complete?
I think there's a large, like, how can I say this? There's different meanings of difficulty. There's an example. There's a difficulty that was caused by a bug where I would enter a new level. Like there's stages in a level. I would enter a new area. You remember this, Tim? Enter a new area. They would nerf all my stats to level 1, and I just get one-shotted out of nowhere. And it was just a bug. I even had to pause the game and check my stats and was wondering what happened to all my stats, right? We're doing like a level 50 like end game mission, and they just nerfed all my stats for entering this new mission. And then there are other difficulties where sometimes your item build might be wrong. Like I try to experiment with a fun glass cannon build, all ranged Captain America, where his shield hits like a truck when I throw it. but otherwise I just die in one hit. I kind of do some stupid builds, and I can die really easily as well. So that's kind of difficult. But I think overall, if you play smart, it's not like Dark Souls. Like you can always beat whatever high level there is. Although I will mention there's a new type of level. It's weekly's Tachyon Rift. They increased the difficulty by making a 1 minute timer. You cannot go over the 1 minute timer, and you have to constantly keep running around gathering these glowing orb things. That increases the time and increases your health, because your health also slowly decreases. So it's almost like a time run where your health keeps draining and the time keeps running out. And you have to do all this while fighting enemies, of course. Yeah.
What kind of missions does the game offer at the end game? Is there like a recon mission or a rescue mission? What does the game offers?
Mission wise, I think there aren't that many different ones. Most of the missions, dailies, they're boss fights. So in the end, you're just going area to area to reach a boss fight. I think the different things is along the way, there's some side quests you can do. So those are like what they give as a variety of different things to do in a mission. But overall, in a mission, I think you just try to get to the boss or end level kind of thing. Just beat up all the enemies. There are certain areas where like capture the flag, and then you move up like to the next floor where you have to protect like scientists. And then there are ones where you have to beat like a mini boss kind of thing. So, or like rescue like hostages from a tank. So yeah, it's all not based on the mission, but just what you encounter in that mission. It's all random.
It's all random.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Are the boss fights satisfying, at least?
Sorry?
Are the boss fights satisfying? Do you feel satisfied beating the boss, or you're like, eh?
I think for me, it's not that satisfying in a way like the bosses are designed. So the bosses available right now is Abomination and Taskmaster. They're like any generic boss. They have hyper armor, so they don't flinch when you hit them. They do some like stages where like they get more powerful, or like they summon minions. I think that kind of mechanic is kind of getting boring. The only one I find more unique is when you fight like this giant spider boss, robot boss, where it's like gigantic. Like some of us have to like jump on the top and hit like their weak points and stuff. So that was more fun. But otherwise, I think honestly, Taskmaster and Abomination, or whatever new boss are gonna come out, they keep this formula going where they just super strong and they hit you. It kind of gets repetitive. That's also kind of one of my complaints, but yeah. So I think.
Oh, okay. Yeah. What about you, Tim?
For the bosses, it's kind of weird that like they're more generic looking bosses were more fun to play because they have like different things to do. Like they're kind of like stages of like the bosses, whereas like Taskmaster and Abomination is if you were playing single player versing these guys, there were more interactions of like versing the boss. But if you're playing in multiplayer, it kind of just ends up being like, let's all gangbang the boss and just keep attacking him until he's dead, kind of thing, right? So that ends up happening more in multiplayer than like. But if you're versing single player, like, yeah. Okay. There is the new boss. If you with the Kate Bishop update, where the new like, what is it? Robot thing. They have all the powers of the Avengers currently. So it has Cap's shield, it has Thor's hammer kind of style. It has like jetpacks on its legs, so it can like fly like Iron Man.
They're basically like Sentinels.
Yeah, the Sentinels.
Oh, really?
But like,
That's
yeah.
cool.
So that boss it's pretty fun actually. But the boss to fight that boss is like in a super long mission. So it's like, can I just have the boss, you know? But
they're called Adaptoids. Sorry.
Right, Adaptoids, yeah.
Oh. And these updates, are they free or?
Yes, they're completely free.
They're free. Okay. Cool.
The thing that they're banking on is cosmetics. So everything in the game is free to use, except for like the cost of some, like, I guess, premium cosmetics.
Oh, what is it? Like, how premium are they?
Like, so like there's some cosmetics where you can unlock them by leveling up or like upgrading your current character, like battle pass kind of thing, to a certain extent. So all these characters have like a character battle pass, and within them you can get like some like materials or resources, and as well as like some like avatars, like emotes and then skins that can like change your whole look. So some of the cosmetics are really cool. Some of them are kind of like little bits of Easter eggs from like older Marvel comic stuff that I probably don't know at this point. But yeah, speaking of kind of like the certain gameplay, which is mainly the progression of Marvel Avengers, when you first start the game, you don't get too many skills and you have to level up. So there's two ways to level up. There's mainly like the normal leveling, which is, you start level 1 and then the max level is level 50, and then the other one is the gear system, which isn't too like, it's what do I say? It's very common nowadays in certain RPGs, right? You have like Destiny, Destiny being like one of the big ones. Borderlands, like it's this very like looter. I would say like in our last review, very looter shooter, kind of like The Division, but instead of a shooter, it's an action RPG. So you're going out there getting loot, looking for different rarities. The higher the better. And essentially you have like now this power level system that they give you. So it's like your gear is power 30, your gear is power 100, and then the max being like 150, at least for now, until they add more updates or a raid or something. So that's how the progression of that works. And for the leveling, when you level, you get these skill points to get either new skills or new combos for your certain like attacks. Like if you have like an attack, like a light attack, and then if you get you can eventually get all these skills where you get like more light attacks, or if you combo like light heavy, you can kind of like, there's a little bit more like combos that you can kind of get within them. And then eventually you enter like kind of like this mastery system with the skill points, where you'll eventually unlock all of them, but you can only choose kind of like 1 out of 3 perks, and these perks are kind of like what separates, or like what kind of makes your build more unique, possibly. So that's kind of the cool thing, at least to dive in, like whether you want to specialize in melee or range, or like if you like want to specialize in like hitting the weak points, or being able to charge your skill cooldowns more faster and stuff like that. So
okay. And these sorry, what were you gonna say?
Can I add to that really quick?
Yeah,
What Tim said. Also want to mention that gears drop based on who you play. So like there are other games where the gear you drop might not even be the person you're using. Just want to mention that whatever you do on that character, it's always the gear for your character that you play. So you don't have to because there are people who wants to level different characters. So you can't go grinding for a gear for like, maybe my Hulk is very high level, I need to grind for Black Widow, but that doesn't work that way. You have to play Black Widow if you want to get gear that are specific to her. Just want to mention that as well.
Okay. How do you get these gears in the game? You just beat up guys and then they just drop it, or?
yeah, so they can drop from the bad guys themselves, or you can find like treasure chests within the game, and they kind of like give you like a little like rarity of like, it's a blue, or like kind of like in Division, if you kind of remember, where they like drop like a certain like color, and you'll see like the color like flash up into the sky or whatever, and that's like, like kind of like an idea of like what that is. So it's kind of like that. Really
cool. Are they satisfying to get these gears? Like, do you see a huge difference from uncommon to rare?
The major differences probably is the perks that you can get. Yeah. At first, it's not bad, like it's the end game, I think, where Sam Lam in our previous episodes kind of like, the journey to it is it's always ever changing, because you're always getting new loot constantly. and then the end game is kind of like you're literally throwing everything out the window except for like a certain piece of gears to kind of like min-max your gear to that point, right? So it's very, so the journey of it is like you get like lots of blues, purples, yellows, or whatever, like, you know, the different rarities of loot while you're going up to the max level per se. And then once you're max level, you're mainly just min-maxing your list. So you're just constantly looking for like, I need a legendary or it's trash, you know, which is, you know, that's I think that's just the state of like what the loot genre of these games now, especially in the end game, are, right? So
I say Avengers kind of added to that too. Like there's like a step above that. So right now I'm throwing legendaries. All I care about is exotic, which still has not dropped for me, even though I've been playing hours and hours. I'm literally looking for exotic for each piece of my gear. So there's like 4 or 5 like gear slots per character. I think it was 4. Yeah. But I haven't gotten a single exotic for any pieces. Still working on that. Yeah. But the grind is real at the late game.
Assuming exotic is really, it's higher than legendary. Do they have different designs? Or is it kind of like the same thing but better stats?
So
they have different designs, different features, I think. Okay. Yeah, they have different features.
So you can flex with it.
The unfortunate thing is it doesn't change your cosmetic at all.
Yeah.
Which is I think one of the more like downsides to a looter game, where like the point of a looter is to like show off your loot, like the crazy loot that you get, right? Like especially like good scenarios of this, or like Diablo, or even The Division, you know, you can actually notice the different like backpacks or different armors you have, right? But in this, it doesn't change a single thing. The only thing that changes is if you change your cosmetic, which is like, you know, you can either have for free or you have to buy them, right? So like you're pretty much staring at the same Captain America skin for like the whole game, unless you like change his skin. Even though like it'll highlight, oh, you're changing his shield, you're changing his armor piece, but it's like, no, you're just kind of like fragmenting that or something, you know, like there's no explanation to that. It's just kind of like...
Oh, I see. Okay. Well, kind of a bummer.
Yeah, it really is. It really is.
Speaking about the looks and cosmetics, what do you guys thought about the graphics of the game in general? Because I know Square Enix has a high standard of graphics, in my opinion. Like, have you seen the Final Fantasy game? It's like, this is real people, right? So I was just curious, what are your guys' thoughts on that?
When the game is working, it looks good. I'll say that.
It's working. Explain more about that. I'm curious.
So like everyone memes about the like Assassin's Creed Unity like eyeballs only, right?
Oh yeah.
You know, that freaky moments where everything else is invisible but the eyeballs for some reason. I think I have gameplay of this, and I'll make sure to show it here when for whoever's viewing this. But it's like there's moments where, especially with Captain America, I think it gets confused whether it's your Captain America is in combat or it's in like the hub areas, because I had a cutscene where so generally Captain America is wearing a helmet, right? So in this cutscene, his helmet was off, you know, it's just like him, but he's still kind of like in his armor, and his like forehead and like parts of his side face are like gone, because generally that's like covered with the helmet or whatever, right? So like the whole scene, it's like you see his like just like maybe like here down, and like you just don't see his forehead. He's like missing, like he has hair, but just, you don't see his forehead, so you can like see through it, and it's like empty. And I'm like, oh no.
Oh no. Oh, that's so awkward. There's one funny cutscene that I saw was I don't know if you guys saw it. It was Thor, and his wrinkles were just going off constantly every time he talks. I don't know if you guys see that, but when I saw that from a YouTube video, I was kind of like in shock, like, whoa, what's going on here? It does kind of ruin the game environment, the game of the atmosphere.
It definitely
for sure.
can,
but it's pretty funny to watch too.
for sure. What about you, Harley?
Kind of what you mentioned, I guess. Graphical glitch. If we're not accounting for that, like you can kind of see that the pixels are formulated when you first start area. like your character actually doesn't load right away. Like I'm running a medium build PC and I'm just running medium graphics. It takes like 5 seconds for it to load, but before that, you would literally get polygons over polygons. Like you play Final Fantasy 7 on PS1, that's what it looks like.
That bad.
Yeah, like you'll see the polygons being loaded. Graphics wise, it's good. They have original design for their characters, so I think it's okay. I just kind of find some of the design like really off, just because like I'm more used to MCU. Because they kind of make it. Yeah, I'm kind of a MCU fanboy, so yeah, they made it a bit, at least a bit closer to that. But yeah, they went really different.
No, that's true.
Yeah, like when I saw Captain America, like he's a cool guy, right? Chris Evans.
Yeah.
He played an awesome role of Captain America, but when I saw this Marvel Avengers game, I was just like, first thing I noticed is his hockey pads. I'm like, why is he wearing hockey pads? That's all I see.
The Batman, I saw the Dark Knight meme. Because I'm not wearing hockey pads.
like I don't know. It just looked like a cosplayer to me than an actual suit, right?
Does he look like a SWAT person to you? Like a police SWAT? Like
does.
his jacket? That's what I thought. I'm like, is he a SWAT member?
Yeah, like
heck?
I was kind of like shocked, like, oh,
Yeah.
okay. Well, like, Iron Man looks decent, like it gives up the classic look, and then Thor looks pretty good too, like with his.
Yeah, I understand why Thor would look like that. Yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense, right? And Hulk is, well, you can't really do anything with Hulk. It's just a big
Hulk
green
looks
buff
fine.
guy.
Hulk is
Yeah,
a
he's
green big
good.
boy.
I think my biggest complaint is Cap.
Yeah. But yeah, I was pretty shocked how he looked for Captain America. I was like, what?
Yeah, one of I guess the thing that you wrote for this, like why didn't they just do a model of the movie cast, or like, if they were to have
Yeah, like even as a cosmetic, like they should have at least added like a few movie costumes from it. I think there are a few, but they aren't like identical to it. They're like similar, and I just kind of have to suck it up and use those instead. Even though, like, okay, you're not giving me like say Chris Evans face, but like at least give me the costume, right? Like that's all I'm asking for.
That's true.
Yeah.
Would you buy the cosmetics, Harley, if they had like?
I would. I would spend extra money. I can actually. I don't care. Like I've been waiting for a long time where I can play as movie MCU characters.
That's true. Yeah.
I guess just to clarify some things, even about like the paid cosmetics and stuff. What do you guys think about games that have like so it's a paid game, right? So it's a full price game, and then they still have like paid cosmetics that you can kind of buy if you so choose. What do you think about that kind of like model?
For me, no, because there's no good costumes, so it doesn't matter. I do like if you remember, Tim, the units to buy the costumes, or like the premium currency, they actually gave free amount out. So it's not like, it is like you have to pay extra if you want to look good, but like there are free to play if you wait a while, and if you do your challenge card, you can actually get those currency as well.
Yeah,
I just want to mention. But, for that business model, obviously, I don't like it, especially since the game is so buggy and the characters are like so limited. Like I feel like for a full price game like that, it's not even like a cheap game. It's a fully priced game. They should definitely offer more on the cosmetic side, especially the good looking ones, and not lock it behind premium currency. Like I would justify it if it was already a free to play game,
right,
or something, or like a really cheap game and developer make like a special skin, then yeah, it's like kind of like playing League of Legends and buying a skin, right? Like yeah, but like definitely does not justify fully priced game and buying cosmetic on it with extra money.
Yeah, I don't know. For me, I'm not really the type of guy who would like pay DLCs or extra stuff. I'm kind of like, just give me the base game. I'll just play through the story and be done with it. But in my perspective, I would say the deal breaker for me is about the cost, right? So let's say if they brought Chris Evans, Captain America cosmetics, right? Like it looks pretty good. It looks like bang on Chris Evans kind of thing. I would say it would depend on the cost. So like, let's say the game is $80, right? But a deal breaker for me is if it's just that one suit and it costs like $15, for me, I would say no. Even though Chris Evans is awesome stuff, but $15 is a lot to ask, right? Especially if it's just one. If it comes in the bundle, maybe $15, depending on like how good it is. But for me, it's like it's all about the pricing and how they market it and stuff. So, because I know I did see the trailer for like Hulk. He has this like gangster suit on.
The mobster, the mob suit.
The mobsters, yeah.
Ball-
I thought that was pretty cool. And then I don't know how they do it. Maybe you guys can answer. But do they just sell this cosmetic as a bundle kind of thing, or is it just an individual?
Individual.
It's individual. And how much does it cost usually?
I think there's like different rarities of skins. If you can,
Yeah, it's like different costs. So different costs and
But the most notable ones are probably like the rarer ones because they actually look different. I think the lesser rarity ones are more so like reskins or recolors of like different skins or whatever. So the more unique skins, I think they cost around like maybe it's like $10 for a skin.
$10 for a skin.
$10 to $15 for a skin, and of course not including the fact that like yes, we can technically grab free premium currency if you play the game and finish to the extent the challenge cards from the characters.
So for me, from right there, when you guys say it's around $10-$15, I'm kind of like, nah. If there's a way for me to get the premium currency and just do it, I'd rather take the long route and just keep playing and build up that in-game currency and buy it. But yeah, $10-$15 for me. I don't know if that makes me a cheap guy or anything like that, but yeah, I would say that's a deal breaker for me. I would not. If it's like $5, sure, I'll slap $5.
It was on sale like there was a sale at some point, and I was telling Harley like, yo, they're putting all these like skins and stuff, like they're setting which skins are on sale for a week, and they're like it's like half off, and this is like when like everyone just jumped in like, you know what, whatever, I'll put in like $5 and just buy a skin or something. That was like a glorious time when people were like, they need to have more sales this often.
That was the only time it was worth it.
Yeah.
Well, I'm glad to hear they go on sales, and yeah, it's definitely worth it if it's on sale. But regular price, not for me.
So I guess it still comes back to the question of like, does that kind of thing still impact like how you play the game, or would you even stay away from like that kind of certain model even?
Well, if it's just cosmetics, the way I see it is if you really love the game and you want to help the game developers out, then by all means support them by buying the cosmetics. The game-changing experience for me, if they give you stats, so like pay-to-win style, then I would avoid it completely. Because I have experience pay-to-win style. For example, Power Rangers on mobile, where you can literally buy a crazy item and just boost the same guy. And yeah, there's nothing you can really do but just get wrecked instantly because they pay the money, you didn't, you can't win, kind of thing. So yeah, that's me.
Fair enough. Let's see. I guess to move on, but something along the side of cost is the cost of the game. So generally we'll give like a rating, like whether it's a 0, a 1, or even a -1. So what do you think about the cost of the game? Do you think it's worth like a full price, or should this kind of game be something cheaper?
For me, I would say, based on my impressions of the game and like not being the guy that haven't really played, for what the game has to offer, I would say, yeah, it's probably worth $80 of a game just because the graphics are really nice. they do give out content. I know there's a meme about how regular they are, but the idea is they're planning to give some stuff, and they're free. So I think that's a nice payout way. For example, like Sims games, they're like dirt cheap, but then they have a bunch of DLC you could possibly get, but they make you pay for it. So the fact that as a consumer and as a fan of Marvel, I am happy that they give these big updates. Adding more mission and stuff. As for free, then I would say, yeah, I think it's worth $80, in my opinion of that.
Unfortunately, I don't think it's worth $80, even though I bought it at full price, and it's been on sale twice already since then at half price. I think you should only get it if you know what you're like at half price. Obviously, I wouldn't recommend getting it at $80. Yeah, I recommend getting it at $40 if you're a huge Marvel fan. You actually like the combat of the game, because I think that's the most important part of that game. Because you're not gonna be able to focus on like story and like other things. Playing with friends is also fun, but you can always join strangers. Although I've only played with strangers like once or twice. I don't know how it is when it comes to searching a lobby, but from what I last heard, the player base isn't that big, so you might have problems finding.
Is it weird to play with strangers?
Not really. You can actually hear their mic too if they haven't been connected. I was like, yeah. What I think right now, the biggest problem of not being worth $80, like I agree with David when he said the graphics nice and like the characters well polished, is there is not enough, not content. I guess maybe a little bit on content side, but more on the roster side. I honestly think the predecessor, I guess, of these Marvel games, they always have a large roster because Marvel is such a big universe, right? With all these characters. They promised Spider-Man on Sony, I guess, and I don't know if they'll ever release on PC, but it's not even out on Sony product, like PlayStation 4 or PlayStation 5. So that's a highly, they even have a sticker when they released it that Spider-Man is going to be on it. So far, we didn't even see a leak of Spider-Man. Hawkeye is supposed to come out, like you said, Tim. But if he plays like similar to Kate Bishop, it's like, is it kind of like a recolored, regendered kind of Kate Bishop? You know what I mean? So yeah, that's my thought. It's mostly the character roster, and they just need to come out with new characters like faster. Because taking how many months to come out with Kate Bishop is it's a really bad point in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, we're essentially just talking about the criticisms about the game, right? And the biggest criticism about the game is, maybe two big criticisms is one, bugs. Is, you know, for a live service game, I guess we're in an era now where, you know, a lot of games nowadays are always constantly online, and they'll always be like, hey, we're always gonna add more content to the game, so it's always a good time to experience the game and then like experience new stuff when they come out. It's not a bad model. Actually, what do you guys think about that kind of model, like a live service game?
I think it gives them an excuse to have more bugs. We saw what happened to Cyberpunk, right? Like, yeah, if you think about it, obviously back in the days, games aren't as complicated. There aren't as many codes, but still, when a game's out, it's out. Like if there are bugs and exploits, well, it's out there. But the amount of bugs we're getting now, especially the newer games, it's quite a handful. Especially some game-breaking bugs too, like the one I mentioned, getting nerfed in the level. I also want to mention this bug since we're talking about bugs really quickly. There was a few times where every time we enter a mission, there's a cutscene of us being dropped from the airship. There was one time where me and my friend got dropped from the ship, literally. We fell out and kept falling and kept falling and kept falling. Yeah, like and we had to obviously restart the mission because I never landed. So yeah, you see how these bugs aren't even like funny bugs. It's like I can't play kind of bugs. So yeah, so that's why I think the model, like it gives excuses, like developers like, oh, we'll just patch it later. Just push the game out, right?
That's true.
For me, I would say it is a very interesting concept of how they approach video games now these days. It sounds pretty good, you know, like constantly updating and moving forward kind of thing. But I don't know what's up with all the bugs, because like Cyberpunk, it was so bad where it's just like even like Sony had to pull out the game on PS4 because it just couldn't even function. And you know, like all these bugs that these games are coming out, it does really give a bad reputation of the game, like a bad first impression already. And like, and I think the most challenging part for these developers is like, how do you win back those fans or the people who like the game, saying, oh, by the way, we fixed it, but can you really get the viewers or the players to come back of how bad it was, right? So I think this is like challenging time, and this is just recent news, so it's kind of like they're testing the waters with this kind of new concept of the game. So I feel really bad for the developers. I'm pretty sure they're working really hard trying to fix everything, but yeah, it's just like I think the most challenging part is bad impressions are already in place. How do you get them back? Like for you guys, you know, just hearing the criticism of the game, like the bugs ruin the gaming experience. The bugs restrict you from moving forward of the game. Is there a way for you to convince yourself to come back to this game? Of like, what would they need to do for them to get you back to playing this game?
Chris Evans skin done.
Honestly,
that's fair, right?
For me, it's
MCU skin done.
I just want the promise of more content. Literally, they're holding themselves back because they want to fix the content. They want to fix the game, but because they're focusing on fixing the game, they can't release more content. Like we're supposed to be promised like a raid-like experience mission, like around like December, but we only just got Kate Bishop in December, where we're supposed to get Kate Bishop like 1 month after release, right? So it's like they're trying to fix the problems, but then they're like, because we're fixing the problems, we don't have time to like update the new stuff into the game. So it's like,
yeah,
everyone's
this is
like,
causing the player base to die.
yeah, like I think Marvel Avengers at release was a really popular game, and whether you hated it or not at release, it was one of the most top played games at the time, probably. And so like I think you had like over like thousands or tens of thousands of people playing. Right now, as I checked on Steam, there's only, at least on Steam, there's only around 300 players still playing the game. So it's, I assume, I've heard, at least through the Marvel Avengers Reddit subreddit, is that the community on consoles are still more active, maybe in the thousands or something, or more, at least more than PC. But PC is it's just gone, you know. Like I guess people are still hoping on maybe a PS4 that Spider-Man will come soon, and like at least you'll have like more gameplay playing a hero. But like for like PC and Xbox, it's just dead at this point, right?
I know we're going off tangent here, but I'm just curious. What are your thoughts? Was that a right move for the game developers to say, hey, by the way, only Sony PlayStation will get exclusive hero to be a playable character?
I actually don't think it's probably Sony's decision to make it exclusive. Yeah, well, I don't know if it's a good, but it doesn't really matter in their case if their player base is already so small, right? And especially since majority, I think, of the player base is probably on PC at the, because like this game came out at a weird time. PS5 came out a few months later. So all the PS4 players that are going to play PS5, they're not going to get another copy of the Avengers PS5, right? They're just going to play the PS4 copy. But is there like a difference?
I mean,
the two copies.
They also will give. I think they said in a statement somewhere. I'll try to like link it in the description, maybe if I find something. Okay. I think that whoever has the PS4 version will get a free upgrade into the PS5, and as well for Xbox.
Oh.
We'll also get free upgrade into the thing when they release.
Yeah, but I don't know how the performance is on a PS5 because I don't want a PS5. But like when it comes to the next gen game, like the new Xbox Series and PS5, are they really gonna keep playing Avengers? And remember, the Spider-Man is only for those next gen console, because it's not on PC, right? So their majority of their player base that are on PC. Us not getting Spider-Man, and Spider-Man is such an iconic character too. That's kind of hurting them, right? So that's my opinion.
Yeah, and especially like not having crossplay is like another problem. Is like a crossplay could have kept this game a little like more alive at least. Like for like people who don't have many friends and they still bought the game, trying to experience it with like, random strangers. With no crossplay, it's like, especially if you're playing on PC right now, you're like looking for other strangers to play with. Good luck, bro. Good luck with the 300 people that are probably just playing by themselves or playing with their friends already, right? So it's already a struggling thing. But to go back possibly into our criticism, the other major criticism is like I think we were talking about it already, is the content itself. Aside from the bugs, because they're fixing the bugs, they're not releasing the content, and they've only released like certain new missions, like the Tachyon Rifts, like Harley said. But essentially, as you've heard the description of the Tachyon Rift, David, it's just another mission that they've added, more like handicap things, like, oh, there's a timer now. Oh, by the way, your health is being constantly drained. Oh, by the way, all the enemies are fully shielded, so they won't get staggered until you more health, essentially, right? So it's modifiers are fine, but when the mode is too similar to like its previous content that we've already grinded like many hours of, and then it's like the only difference is like, oh, everything's like more chaotic, to kind of like be like, hey, this is more content, by the way. It's kind of frustrating, and especially I give it a nice, at least an applaud for at least releasing Kate Bishop and her story being unique, and like the way they intro her and way she fits into the Marvel Avengers game story, or the ever expanding story, as they say. It's really cool. So I'm excited for Hawkeye when it comes out, to see how how his continuation in the story, and how how his character plays, but how his continuation of this story like expands. But until like we get more content, the Kate Bishop wasn't that long. That was like maybe 3-4 missions. So it's like after that, it's like, okay, now I just have to like level up Kate Bishop, and what am I doing? I'm literally doing what I've done with every other character, So it's
very repetitive, eh?
It's very repetitive, and when the missions aren't too varied, it's not bad, because some characters are just more fun to play, and if you're able to find a character within the very limiting roster, that's very fun. Like Harley enjoys Captain America, and he just he, like you said, you can play around with his builds, whether you throw the shield 24/7, or you charge in like with shield bashing and being able to tank for other people. If you can find like enjoyment, you can find enjoyment through there. But if you can't find that that kind of play style or the character, everything feels the same. And so one of my criticisms is, even as you level up from like level 1 to level 50, even though you get these like new skills or new ways to combo it, the progression of that feels very like, it doesn't feel like it adds onto it, especially if you play in a very button mashy way. If you're kind of just button mashing, it's just kind of like you're already doing like the same button presses, like you're just doing light attacks or constant heavy attacks or a mixture of both, and you'll see your character kind of like adapt and do like very smoothly like transition to different combos, because maybe you haven't paid attention to it, or maybe that, oh, I know like certain combos, but like you're not using every single skill that the game, like the characters, their skill pages has to offer you. So it ends up being like, if you don't remember, oh, I can like jump up and do a smash with Hulk, or I can hold this button to do this, and then like we're not that guy that like knows how to like wombo combo with every single character, right? So it feels very same, especially in terms of like leveling from 1 to 50. But there's definitely a difference when you get all the skills. It definitely impacts. It makes a difference of like, oh, I know like all these like new moves, and these moves can make a difference with how you combo and stuff. So like at the end it's cool, and at the beginning it's cool, but the middle is very like, there's no like, it doesn't have a unique identity of the character.
Also want to add one more criticism. I think this one is actually pretty important, especially for a co-op game. You can't use the same character in the same party. Now, that's a problem because, first of all, like I said, roster is small, so the pool is already limited. Second, they come out with new characters one by one. So obviously, when Kate Bishop is out, a bunch of people want to play Kate Bishop. I don't mind not playing, but for example, if you want to play with a friend who wants to play Kate Bishop, well, take turns, right? Like, it's kind of like a hindrance with a model like that where they come out characters one by one and the roster is already small and they add the restriction of, I can't use the same character. Oh, by the way, multiplayer game.
Yeah, all those 300 players on Steam. Kate Bishop comes out, sorry guys.
It's already
who's gonna call dibs?
Small amount of community, and you have to search the party, and you have to search for someone that's not playing it. That's another restriction to that, right?
I've been in queue for 20 minutes. What's going on here?
Exactly.
Because everyone wants to play your character.
And I'm not exactly sure if they made like if they gave a bonus, like if you like max out a character, maybe they give you extra EXP or something if you like level up another character. Because now let's say that you do co-op and you know two friends like to play Thor and you're like, wait, only one of us can play Thor. So it's like, but I've only leveled my Thor and I haven't leveled anyone else. So it's like I have to start at ground zero, level 1 again. And we've played enough, me and Harley has played enough where we know like how to fast track our way into like getting the fastest gear, leveling up the fastest, but like it's still the same process, you know. It's still slow. There's no like fast track way of like, you know, getting your character up to speed since you have like one character max or whatever. It's like, or like if you want to play with like your higher level friends, but you're now a lower level because you have to play someone else. So it's just, you know, like games like I think Borderlands, which I know Harley has also been playing very casually. It's, you know, the co-op in that game, or even like The Division, you know, whether you're high level or low level, you can play with each other and the content is still there. It's still relevant. Everyone can join no matter what level.
Same character.
And you can also play the same character, right? So
not that hard.
Or even the fact that, you know, like in Borderlands or in The Division, right, you can be a max level, but you can still play at the level 1. Sure, the experience is slightly different because, you know, like the power creep and stuff, but like something like in Borderlands, you know, you can be different levels, but if I'm level 5 and I shoot the monster, the level 50 monster that Harley is shooting, you know, it's that level 5 monster for me, so I shoot it and I do a lot of damage for a level 5. I can still kill it as fast, even though for him it's a level 50 monster or whatever, right? So like those kind of experience that like at this for kind of co-op experience, that's like what you want. Whether, you know, it's supposed to be a good reason to be like, hey, I know I play this game a lot, it's worth it, so come join me. And it's like that's an awesome experience to have. Whereas in Avengers, it's like I have a maxed out Thor, but oh shoot, you want to play Thor? Oh, I guess I'm playing a different character now. And then you might not even enjoy that new character or whatever, right? So it's either the roster's too limiting, or it's, you know, there's not many co-op options if people want to play the same thing.
Sounds rough.
Yeah.
I think it probably would help if there's more characters, playable characters at least.
Yeah, that's the most important part. Because like, for example, most people who jump into the game might be like, I want this certain character and this certain character only, right? Because remember, this is the first game in a while where we can play as like certain Marvel characters, right? Other than like since like Alliance, and like for me, I want to play Captain America. There isn't other heroes that really interest me, maybe Iron Man and Hulk. But like if I really want to choose, like say in Marvel Alliance, I can always play like, I like playing Ghost Rider. I like playing Spider-Man. I want to play Deadpool. You see how that roster like allows me to I'm okay with any, but with such a small roster, you're like, you play this, I can't play this. So definitely the limited roster is a problem.
That's a lot of information there, guys. Woo.
A lot of information.
Yeah,
we did put a lot of hours.
We got some pros, but it seems like we got a little bit more criticism. But you know, the game is still updating. Yeah. That's the live service. Right. It is what it is, right? So they're improving. They're working on it. But
I wanted to give this game as much. Can you redeem yourself as much as you can before like it's completely dead? And at this point, you know, it's if you're whoever's watching this, you know, if you're able to play with some friends and if you can get this like half off or something, then it's it's one of these games where you can kind of enjoy being a Marvel hero. Because honestly, this game it's one of the only games where you can actually play as like a Marvel hero, But yeah, if you're playing with friends, it's still a fun game. It's probably better if it's on sale if you pick it up then. It's been on sale twice now. The story is pretty good, honestly. It's very cinematic, very you don't have to care about the loot, so if you hate the loot system in these kind of games, that loot doesn't really matter in the game. All you have to do is, you find new loot. If you like it, you equip it. You can move on with the story, and the story is pretty well played, with well voice acted. But aside from that, the content right now is still really limited, especially once you reach endgame. There's enough endgame to satisfy you maybe for a little bit, but after that, it's kind of the same thing over and over until they release more.
Well, thanks, Harley, again for joining our episode today.
Thanks for
it's
having
really
me.
great.
Yeah.
It's great. Yeah, it's really great having you back again, especially with our last episode with Genshin Impact.
And you have a webcam.
Right.
And then new webcam, so it's nice. We don't have
Yeah.
to see your icon there. We can actually see your
Yes.
facial expression when talking, so it's awesome. Thank you again, viewers, for sticking with us here. I know it's a lot of information taken, but you're more than welcome to rewatch it, fast forward, up to you guys, or mention in the comments below if you need something to clarify but can't commit the full time. We can do our best to reply. As well as if you like this video, please give us a like. That will definitely help us, as well as subscribe. Subscription from you guys, the more numbers we see, it gives us a motivation to keep making more videos for you. So thank you again, and as well, you can click the notification bar to be one of the first people to know when we actually upload the video. So thank you. As well as we have a Facebook page, you can definitely follow us there, and as well as an Instagram page. Facebook will probably have the videos uploaded, but Instagram will kind of give out little teasers what our next episode is going to be based on. So thank you very much. But before we end this video, we're going to give us some bonus content just for you guys to know how our lives have been during COVID and what kind of games we're currently playing. So I can go first. For me, I haven't really been playing much video games. So what I try to do is try to work out and exercise. So I started playing Beat Saber. It's my balanced way of exercise and playing video games. I recently bought the new BTS. Those who are K-pop fans, yes, the BTS album. I have to say, it's a good workout. Definitely makes you do the dance in their music video. So that's me. How about you, Harley? What games have you been playing recently?
Like I mentioned earlier, clicking too much in games, playing computer games. So took a break from that. Playing phone games. Like recently got into Dragalia Lost. Tim kind of introduced it to me because it's a crossover with Persona 5. I love that game.
Nice.
Yeah. Other than that, started playing an MMO called Black Desert Online, like I said earlier as well, and Genshin Impact dailies. Just waiting for the new banner. And yeah, that's it.
Cool. How about you, Tim?
I've been playing I'm still been playing some Need for Speed Heat. The funny thing is we've been playing so many like track races that when I was doing the story to kind of just like play around with it, because I might as well finish the story, more types of races came out, and I was like, oh, now everything makes sense. Why is there an off-road function when there's no off-road races? And now there's off-road races. So I've been enjoying off-road races more, and then of course I'm still playing with some friends, and I've been playing with this wheel. So it's it's still fun to just actually like drift around and stuff with the wheel itself. So maybe we'll do a review on that, maybe not. But also I've been working on just another game, or at least playing the game now, and then maybe we'll review it later. Is Stardew Valley, because I actually haven't finished that game now that I like look at it. And so maybe we'll review it sometime. But until I'm more finished with that game, I've been chillaxing with that game or so.
We heard.
Good question. You get finished Stardew Valley?
There's like
I never played.
there's like many ways apparently to finish Stardew Valley. Like, I guess there's no concrete answer, but a lot of people have been saying, or at least whoever has quickly been playing Stardew Valley is, some people mostly can say if you finish rebuilding the community center, because it's like all run down and stuff, uh, in Stardew Valley,
Okay.
and that's kind of like the way of like you finish the game at that point.
Okay.
Otherwise, the like some other people, I guess maybe more end game people of Stardew Valley, is saying like once you impress your granddad, your grandpa, because there's like a scene or something where he but like you get like a cutscene where it's like he rates your farm, and if he likes it, then he's like impressed. And he's like, yeah. So some people are like, you know, that's like the real ending because you take over your farm eventually, right? So. But I'm just gonna play until I kind of finish the community center, and then maybe we'll talk about it in a review sometime. So. But yeah, sweet. Thanks again for joining us. If you guys have watched all up to here or skipped to here, you know, we thank you for watching what you watched. If you guys, you know, it's fun to talk about video games, and we hope to just, you know, have some sort of community. Have some sort of community, you know, where, you know, anyone can kind of like, whether you're a casual gamer or more a hardcore gamer, we want to welcome all. You know? Everyone's a gamer, whether you've played Diablo or Candy Crush. Sorry, I thought that joke would hit harder.
No.
So yeah, hope you guys enjoy this. If you guys have any, again, game recommendations for us to review or to look at, you know, put it in the comments below. If you put in Cyberpunk, we'll probably not play that because I think you guys already have enough opinions of Cyberpunk. You know, being it's a very buggy game and probably bad, so don't buy it. So if you
That was a quick review.
Yeah, that was a quick review.
That's like 90% of the opinions of Cyberpunk right now. Unless you're on PC, I think consoles is still really buggy, but maybe PC. I've heard like both sides being like, "Oh, it's great," you know, or yeah, but yeah, this is crazy. I can't believe we have almost over an hour of just bashing, maybe just bashing Marvel Avengers. But anyways, again, we're always looking for new or even older games, and so I think, you know, there's Marvel Avengers is in an interesting spot where I think it's good enough to play with friends still, but just maybe not good enough to kind of hold itself, or maybe not exactly necessarily worth it, but it's still a fun game to play with friends if your friends are down. So yeah, we'll see you guys next week. Thank you for joining us. We're Worth It Fridays. See ya.
Also, we want to thank the viewers here. Oh shoot, sorry. My bad. Wireless, guys. We gotta go wireless now.